Hey guys, one of the biggest problems of running a 3D printer is making sure that your bed is constantly level. You can see that there's a screw and a spring on this corner of my build platform that I can turn and raise this corner up and down. And there's actually three more on the other corners, and you have to adjust all of them to make sure that this is completely level to your hot nozzle. If it's not, it will cause all kinds of printing problems. It can even cause the filament not to stick on the bed. It can cause warping and moving and shifting. So it's a big deal that your bed be level. And to do this by hand, it's very time consuming. You have to stick paper in there and keep moving it corner to corner and adjusting these. And then once you get it in, if it gets bumped at all, then you'll just have to do it again because it will fall back out. Very frustrating process, and it really has bothered me to adjust these. So I heard about bed leveling, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to install an automatic bed leveler on this Prusa so that we never have to manually level the bed anymore, and it will significantly get rid of most of the printing problems. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Automatic bed leveling for 3D printers. Another reason I think it's worth noting why the Z-axis changes position is because there's two stepper motors, and they're paired together to lift the carriage up and down. And if one of the motors stalls out or hits the home position and the other is still moving, or you just don't have this set up exactly level, then it's gonna be out of square basically. So anyway, bed leveling will take care of all these problems. So let's get started on that. Normally I'll just use the control panel here on the 3D printer to do all my changes and everything. However, I have to go ahead and modify the firmware to accept the bed leveling. So I went ahead and hooked up a PC over here and connected it to the USB port. I'll do all my changes on the Arduino software and then use Pronoface to check the settings. And then when I'm happy with them, I'll go ahead and flash this memory over here, and then I won't need the computer anymore. So I wanted to show you some resources that will help you to get started auto leveling your own bed. The main website that I used is this reprap.org, and my ramps electronics are specific to other types of 3D printers, I'm sure, and this can be applied to different types of machines, so you might want to just Google the type of electronics that you're using to get bed leveling support. Now, I wanted to add that bed leveling isn't physically leveling your bed at all. The way that it works is it just probes 4 or more points on the bed and determines through math how the bed is positioned, how level it is. And then it adds or subtracts height to your Z to compensate for a level bed. So it's basically a software method of leveling the bed versus mechanical. In fact, the bed can be very crooked, and when you run the probing software for the bed leveling, you can actually get it to print straight even though the bed might be at a really extreme angle. Anyway, this RepRap site is a good one, and you can also Google auto bed leveling for your particular machine. There's a lot of information out there already, so I'm not going to repeat how exactly to go ahead and do this, but I will tell you that it's worth your time and effort to do this. And if you use a 3D printer and you really want your prints to come out nice, or you're having problems already, this is your answer, and it certainly cleared up a lot of my printing problems. It's the one most effective thing that I've done to date. I wanted to go ahead and just briefly skim on a few things. I showed you the RepRap site. Now I'm going to go ahead and go to the actual machine that I'm playing with the code on. And you can see I have my Marlin code loaded up into my Arduino software. And this is where you'll actually change the configuration files, and you'll have to get the latest one. Again, you're going to want to consult, those sites that I told you about. But basically what you do is you come in here and you locate the auto bed leveling features. That are here. You can see auto bed leveling, and you put in the numbers that will satisfy movements for your machine, and then you resave it, and then you flash it back to your printer. In other words, you save it back to your printer. And then there's this software here called Pronterface, and you can use it to test the machine. This has some controls on there that if you have an LCD control panel, this includes a way to communicate with your printer that doesn't. And you can also issue manual commands in this box. So anyway, that's pretty much how much I'm going to show you with the software. Like I said before, I'm not going to go into it in great detail because it's already been done many times. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and print the parts to hold my servo and my probe, and then we'll get this thing going. So that's next. So right now I'm printing the parts for the auto bed leveler. There's 2 parts in all, and they're fairly small. And I'm using ABS plastic because it's more heat resistant, because this will be, near the hot end. Anyway, this is going to take about 25-30 minutes, and then we'll be done with that. Okay, so our parts are done. Let's take a look here at what we have. There they are. Let's get them off here, clean them up, assemble. Now I'm just using my little pocket knife here to take off any plastic that got left behind and clean it up just a little. I tend to leave my pocket knife not real sharp, and I find that it works pretty good just for knocking edges off, and I don't have to worry about getting cut. I do have a razor blade here if if I need to come in here and scrape it like that, I can, but for the most part I just use a semi-sharp knife like this. Check this one out. This even has a little flashlight. Eddie Bauer. Anyway, I'll keep cleaning. Well, this is what the finished assembly looks like. Got my little micro switch down here on this arm that's connected to the servo. And I went ahead and soldered some wires for my micro switch to this. And I've got a servo extension wire here that's plugged in here. I'll put shrink wrap on that. But I just need to install this on the machine now. Alright, so I'm just hooking this new fixture up here to my 3D printer. And it's going to go right here. It's actually going to replace this piece of wood here. You can see it's got the same shape. So it's going to go right in there like that. So I'm going to take these 2 screws out and put it in. And then I got to route these cables up to the control panel. So I'll do that next. Well, I tried to squeeze the camera in here the best I could to give you a shot of the Merlin board that is here on the side. You can see the orange wire over to the right side just dangling. And that's my servo wire for the retractable probe. And it plugs in to one of 3 servo positions. This board can actually handle 3 different servos, and I've got it in spot number 1. And then for the actual probe, the micro switch just plugs into the normal Z down. And I just disconnected the old Z and plugged this one in. So we're good on the wiring. And I had to add an extension to the servo wire to make it longer. So now I just bundle up the wires and I should be ready to go here pretty quick. Okay, so I've got my SD card here and I'm going to go ahead and put it in the side of my control panel here. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and leave the cover open so you can see this thing level and see how it works exactly. You can see it says card inserted. You just click this and go down to print from SD. Click. And it brings the newest one at the top. There it is, stretch bracelet number 1. And I just hit start. And right now, the bed is heating up. And as soon as it reaches temperature, it'll start the bed leveling routine. You notice I haven't homed any of my positions. And I've got the head off the bed quite a bit so this can drop down. So as this comes up to temperature, it'll begin, and then you'll see how it levels the bed and begins to print the bracelet. We'll just wait for that. I've got some new filament here that I want to try out. This is like a rubber material, very soft and flexible. Brand name is Ninja Flex, and it's a 3mm roll. And I always like to take my calipers and check it. Now this is 3.27 and it's labeled for 3, but I'll go ahead and set my software up for 3.3 or 3.25 because it does make a slight difference as well. And every time I change my filament roll, I'll put in the new number and check it frequently. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and make the bracelet out of this. I also have some glow-in-the-dark material over here. I'll show you that next. So this is the fluorescent glow-in-the-dark material, and this was about $20 more a roll for the glow-in-the-dark feature, and it works fairly well. You charge it up and then it glows in a dark room. And I'll go ahead and check that too, and I'm going to make a light switch cover out of this. And you can see this is about 2.97, and it's labeled as 3mm. Anyway, we'll treat this as ABS. Let's move on. Well, we're just about preheated here, and it's going to go ahead and do its thing. The first thing it's going to do is X and Y home, and then it's going to begin probing. Okay, so it's off. It's finding the X and Y home positions. Now it's going to drop that servo, and it's going to go down until it touches the glass, and then it's going to back up and then go down again and touch it. It does it twice. Each probe is done twice as a redundancy. So we'll just watch this touch and then come back up and touch again. There's the first touch. Down gently again. It's going to go ahead and probe that same area one more time. Now it's going to go to the left and check that side. Probe down, touch once. One more touch. Now it's going to come down to the front here. Probe down, touch. Once more. And the last point will be to the right. First. The bed leveling's now done, and it's getting in position to go ahead and print out that bracelet. And there it goes. It's off printing the bracelet. So we're going to let this run, and when it gets a little bit closer to being finished, I'll come back and we'll take a look at it and see how it did. I put a small piece of tape on the Z threaded rod so you could see it turning as it's printing in circles. And normally this wouldn't be moving until it reached the next layer, and then it would go up one level. However, it's constantly readjusting itself with the other side to compensate for the bed leveling. So that means it's working. That's a good thing. Well, moving right along, we're printing our bracelet with the Ninja Flex, the rubberized material. And it's doing a pretty good job, all thanks to bed leveling. If I had to do this manually, you know, I'd have to set the bed up perfectly, and it's very finicky, especially with this thin stuff, this rubberized stuff. Sometimes it's a pain to get it to start going in the nozzle because it's so flimsy, you know. But once you get it in and flowing with the automatic bed leveling, really works great. All right, I'll be back when it gets further along. Yep, we're printing right along. It's about 64%, and it's been about 22 minutes. So this should finish up within, you know, 30, 35 minutes. So I'll be back when it's a little closer. All right, so we're still moving along here. We're almost 80%. And I got a riddle for you guys. How does Bill Gates enter his house? If you know, put it in the comments below and see who gets it first. Also, how many programmers does it take to screw in a light bulb? So if you know the answers to those riddles, put them in the comments, and then in the next show I'll tell you the answer. Look at that shiny bracelet. It's pretty nice. Anyway, I forgot to tell you guys, I had a power outage when I was doing a firmware upgrade on Merlin for the 3D printer. And all the code that I put in it for the new bed leveler was lost. The file was corrupted, and I had to redo it. So that was another day lost to that. So actually, I'm redoing this bracelet. This is actually my third bracelet. I gave the other two to my wife, and she wore them to work. She loves them. She got a bunch of compliments. And then I went ahead and printed this one so I could do the video. So anyway, let's let this cool down a little bit, and then we'll take it out of here, and I'll show you how nice it is. Oh, note to self, put a power backup system on the 3D printer. I don't want to go through that again. I'm sure you guys know how that feels. There it is. Very stretchy. It's made so it looks like cut glass almost. Really neat. And you seeing there was no cleanup on this at all, so nice. Well, there's the bracelet. Before we go, I wanted to show you another quick little project I was working on. Little Frankenstein knife switch that replaces the covers for your light switch. Here's another one that I made in black. This is for a ordinary type of switch, you know, the up and down type, the old style. And it just works by kicking it back and forth. If you're interested in making your own, I'll leave a link in the description to this video. And you know, it's like execution style with Frankenstein and using a lab. This is another print that I did for a rocker type of arrangement, and this is the same deal. I purchased some glow-in-the-dark ABS plastic, and that's what this is. This is actually the first print off it. And now that I'm looking at these switches, I did these before I did the auto bed leveling, and I can see, you know, I can see little problems with these. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a little bit thicker. Yeah, you're not going to be able to see that. But trust me, These aren't perfect. Maybe you can see a little bit of bow in that. Just ever so slightly. Whereas these, they're straight as arrows. You're just gonna have to take my word for it, because it's too hard to show you. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and install this in my workshop. Next time I need to turn on the light, it can feel like I'm using a Frankenstein switch. Oh, here's a good example of warping. Look at that. You see how that's thinner there. So anyway, I want to thank you for watching. If you have any comments, leave them below. Let me know what you think. And we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.